Hello, Reflection, Dr. Flynn. This is my infographic for September 5th, 2019. I'm using my Xbox to present my infographic and to host my pictures, and I actually will also be using it to move up and down. Getting right into it. So, regarding the readings, there are several different readings, and all of them have to do somewhat with the topic of a digital divide between our students and our future students of different socioeconomic backgrounds, technology needs, and cultural needs. So, moving right into it. Regarding Newkirk's reading, Taste and Distaste, Newkirk tells us about how we should be making sure that the readings, books, stories that end up in our students' hands should be books that present good and interesting character development and being very dynamic in change. We don't want to just give our boys and girls power fantasies or dramas similar to what they find on TV, because now more than ever children are resorting to TV shows to find distinct stories for their entertainment. Giving them instead critically acclaimed books or short stories could have a more positive effect. Typically, increase the quality of their literature. Academics will follow. My apologies. Regarding Dolan, Splicing the Digital Divide. Dolan talks about how social economic backgrounds really influence our classrooms. Dolan states about how teachers need to be able to have the resources that often the administrations won't be able to fund. When we don't have access to our resources in order to be able to, say, have everyone do a research paper properly, or maybe your library doesn't have a great resource center for checking out books, it hurts our ability to teach our students. It limits their ability to create different needs or projects that can only be met with technology. In the society we're growing up in, it's more important than ever to have technology available to you and to practice that at a young age, so when you move up to the future, you can be proficient with it. Dolan argues that not having that damages our students. Regarding the expressions of identity for English learners, this was a very interesting read. It talks about how students that don't necessarily speak English as a first language oftentimes rely on technology in order to have the best possible academic experience or creation. In this reading, different learners, English learners, say, who had different first languages, be it from Kenya or Mexico, where they spoke Spanish. I'm not sure what they speak in Kenya. They used technology to create different projects, say podcasts or videos describing their home life, and it brought energy and it brought passion into their work that they wouldn't necessarily be able to do if they didn't have the technology available to them to make those creative choices. What it tells us is that having technology available in the classroom can have every student be able to express themselves in ways we aren't traditionally used to, and that can be a great thing. It's important to keep technology available and to utilize it properly, so that way students who maybe wouldn't be best at writing or speaking or having a presentation can instead take the time using, say, like iMovie or Windows Movie Maker, or just making a YouTube video. They can do more in expression and demonstrating literacy abilities through technology. Regarding Turner's Digitalk and language. So we've always heard about how people complain that teenagers use text lingo, putting numbers and numerics and emojis into their texting, and that so could damage our youth's ability to be literate. But that's just not true. Turner directly argues that, in fact, having students switch between formal and informal text is actually quite normal. The way we text our parents, the way we text our bosses, and the way we text our friends, all of those things are different from each other. Having having that ability to code switch is an excellent tool, and it demonstrates a further capacity for intelligence. Now, what he also says is that the way that we integrate these shortcuts into our texting is actually a sign of literacy proficiency. People wouldn't be able to sound out later if it was L8TER if they didn't already understand the word later, the way it's pronounced. While it's not necessarily something that we should be looking for in the classroom, all he demonstrates is that teenagers and young adults using Digitalk does not by any means degrade their intelligence, and we should not think less of them for using such a thing. Wrapping up the infographic, we have the digital divide. What the digital divide talks about is talking about our economic backgrounds in our schools as well as our students. When we as teachers come from a better background and we move out of state in order to, get a new job, we have to be aware about the limitations of the students of that area. Maybe we grew up with students being able to have after school hours to go and research a paper. That might not exist where you move. That might not exist in different schools. That culture might not be available. Maybe students after school always need to go home and assist their parents. We don't know. We have to be conscious of what we ask our students to do as far as a workload goes. The digital divide specifically targets the idea of knowing your school's limits and working within those limits, perhaps even talking to your administration about what more can be done to get technology available, and also to be conscious of what we ask our students to do. Some students don't have access to a word processor at home. They don't have access to a phone to film, maybe a phone, but not a phone that they are allowed to use, proficient with, or is up to date. Just be conscious and be aware of what your students' limitations are, because it's often not their choice. Work within those choices. Be a good teacher. Thank you for watching my infographic. Have a wonderful holiday, and I'll see you